السلام عليكم.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهد الله فهو المهتد ومن يضله فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا والصلاة والسلام على محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن اتبعه بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. We begin by acknowledging our gratitude to Allah and seeking Allah's aid and assistance in all that we do. And we ask Allah for forgiveness. And we seek refuge in God from the worst inclinations within us. For we attest to the fact and bear witness that those who are bestowed with the grace of God are the truly chosen and fortunate ones and truly guided ones, and those who lose their way to God are those who are truly lost, for they have lost themselves. So much of what Allah reminds us of repeatedly, time and again in the Quran, is a message astounding in its straightforwardness and in many ways in its simplicity. For it calls upon us and hearkens us back to the best momentum and the best possibilities embedded within us, and warns us against the pitfalls of giving in to our egotistical side, our weaker side, our anxious or easily threatened sides. Today, inshallah, I want to remind you and remind myself of Surah chapter that we have all read time and again, but it deserves reflection for its astounding, straightforward, and simple message. And this is Surah Shams, or the chapter can be translated as the chapter of the sun. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والشمس وضحاها والقمر إذا تلاها والنهار إذا جلاها والليل إذا يغشاها والسماء وما بناها والأرض وما طحاها. So far, this is a conditional or grammatically a form of oath, a solemn reminder by Allah, by God to us, by the sun, وَالشَّمْسِ وَضُحَاهَا, by the sun and its rising brightness, وَالْقَمَرِ إِذَا تَلَاهَا, and by the moon that follows it, وَالنَّهَارِ إِذَا جَلَّاهَا, and by the day that reveals the glory of the sun, وَاللَّيْلِ إِذَا يَغْشَاهَا, and the night when it draws a veil upon the sun, وَالسَّمَاءِ وَمَا بَنَاهَا, and by the sky and how God has built it, constructed it, وَالْأَرْضِ وَمَا طَحَاهَا, and the earth and how God has spread it and extended it. Now all of these reminders, all of these solemn calls to natural processes of the sun, the earth, the sun, the moon, night and day, the earth, are natural observances, are issues that create our system of expectation and dependency. So it is indeed the way that we become embedded in our earthly life is to expect a sun, a moon, a day, to expect a physical world, to measure this physical world empirically, to rely on these empirical measurements and expectations to enter into the humdrum of life itself, to enter into the humdrum of existence itself. But then comes the continuation of the solemn call of God, وَنَفْسٍ وَمَا سَوَّاهَا, and by the soul and how God has formed it. Now we're entering into less visible and measurable observations. Now what about the soul and how God has constructed it? Till today, science doesn't know anything about the soul. Science can tell you what sustains the existence of a physical body and what measures the expiration of the physical body. But both scientists and philosophers can go on endlessly ad nauseum about the soul. No one has measured it, contrary to pop science, and no one has, in fact, has any ways of verifying it, but numerous philosophers and numerous scientists, and even most people innately know it is there. And by the soul and how God has constructed it. And then comes a further challenge to our senses. فَأَلْهَمَهَا فُجُورَهَا وَتَقْوَاهَا. Now, many translations wrongly translate this as by the soul and how God has constructed it and placed in it either piety or impiety, and that's clearly wrong. فَأَلْهَمَهَا فُجُورَهَا وَتَقْوَاهَا is more properly and inspired in it the understanding of taqwa, of piety, and the understanding of the opposite of, or the understanding of the lack of. The understanding of what is right and the understanding of what is wrong. And then comes the most critical part. And that is what we call in Qur'anic construction jawab al-qasam, or to every oath that God takes, there is a conditional. And there is a response to this conditional. So what is the response to this conditional? The response to the conditional, jawab al-qasam, is the most critical part of the message being conveyed by God to us. What is jawab al-qasam? Jawab al-qasam, that critical message, the essential message, قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ زَكَّاهَا قَدْ خَابَ مَنْ دَسَّاهَا. قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ زَكَّاهَا. And here is where we pause. Truly successful, truly victorious, that who has purified it. Purified what? Purified the soul. And truly a failure, or truly a failing person, truly that he is a failing person, that, and the saha is a remarkable, eloquent expression, that who has allowed it to become denigrated, dwindle into a suppressed and lowly status. Now, reflect upon this. First, God reminds us of natural phenomena and of the world, of the dunya, of life on this earth in which we are embedded, and which often acts to make us forget that this is not, physicality is not what we are about. We are about something beyond the material world. And what is beyond the material world is embedded in a secret of secrets, that spirit within us. The secret, as Allah tells the Prophet at one point, they ask you about the soul, tell them its true knowledge is with God. That the secret of the soul, of the construction of the soul, is held by the Lord. But that is not what should detain us. Unlocking the secret of the soul is a fool's errand. But what is not a fool's errand is that we are reminded that regardless of the material universe that surrounds us, and regardless of all the diversity that we see in physical existence, we all share an innate understanding of what is good. And why does God say فَأَلْهَمَهَا فُجُورَهَا وَتَقْوَاهَا, and fujur comes before taqwa? Is because good is an affirmative action. To do good is to take affirmative action. But to languish in what is the opposite of good, in other words, to fall into evil, into what is bad, often requires no more than a lack of affirmative action to do good. And I'll elaborate upon this in 1 second. It often requires no more than the banality of apathy, to simply sit by. Think about the nature of taqwa, the nature of piety. As Ibn Taymiyyah says, the nature of taqwa is quwwatul imsak, is the willpower, an affirmative willpower to control. He here is talking about self-control. And Ibn Taymiyyah in Hadi al-Arwah says, and this is, many Muslim scholars repeat the same thing throughout history, that the affirmative willpower required for taqwa is anchored in a lively conscience that continuously recalls what is good and investigates what is good and remembers what is good and internalizes what is good. The minute we stop doing that, in other words, the minute we stop caring, the minute we say, well, I know it doesn't require a conscientious, active, energetic expenditure on my part, you risk slipping into fujur. The minute you watch that person that becomes an orphaned human being or a dispossessed human being, and you say, it is not my problem, it is not my obligation, why should I take an affirmative action to assist an orphan, or assist the refugee, or assist the dispossessed? You are teetering on the edges of fujur, because that's not taqwa. The minute that we see wrongdoing, the minute you see a man treating a child abusively, and you say, as in Egyptian we say, "Malnash da'wa," it's not our business, let's just keep going. Fujur is at the gates of your society. Taqwa, righteousness, is an affirmative state of mind that requires an energetic rawh, it's an energetic soul, an ever-present conscience that has the willpower and desire and determination to see that our life is not just about the sun rising and the moon coming and day and night, but that our life is embedded with the meanings of taqwa and the meanings of divinely purpose. وَاسْأَلُوا اللَّهَ يَسْتَجِبْ لَكُمْ. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والحمد لله رب العالمين سبحان الله والله أكبر اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على محمد النبي الأمين وخاتم المرسلين. So much of what the Prophet ﷺ affirmed, and as we all know that the teachings of the Prophet ﷺ supplement and explain and elaborate upon the Quran. But I will take one aspect of taqwa that the Prophet ﷺ emphasized, and that these days we need to affirmatively recall within ourselves and turn into affirmative action. Hadith reported through Aisha, the wife's Prophet radiallahu anha, and there are several, there's so many of with the same message, whether through Abu Huraira or Anas or Aisha or through various transmissions. Man la yarham la yurham. That who does not extend mercy will not receive mercy. Now, extend mercy where? That who does not, the human being that does not extend mercy to other human beings on earth will not receive mercy from God in the hereafter. Similar narrative, but through a different means of transmission. Irhamun nas yarhamukumullah. Be merciful and compassionate towards human beings. God, in turn, would be merciful and compassionate towards you. In a particularly strong transmission, a hadith that has reached the point of tawatur, الراحمون يرحمهم الرحمن ارحموا من في الأرض يرحمكم من في السماء, which translates as, those who are compassionate and merciful, the Rahman, the compassionate, Allah, God, will in turn be compassionate and merciful towards them. Be merciful towards those who are on earth, and Allah will be merciful towards you in the heavens, in the hereafter. Now, note, so many of us have heard this teaching and passed by, but notice the affirmative, conscientious stance it requires of each and every one of us as a critical component of taqwa. Rahmah, as so many, among them Ghazali in his Ihya Ulumuddin, says, Ruknul Taqwa al-Rahmah. The cornerstone of piety is Rahmah. Rahmah, mercy and compassionate, is even if you don't want it to be, even if you don't agree with Ghazali that it's a cornerstone, then every Jew has agreed that it is at least one of the critical components of piety, of taqwa. And that falah, for the soul to be elevated and to be righteous, as the surah talks about, cannot be unless a person is truly merciful and compassionate. But mercy and compassion itself requires a conscientious affirmative stance, because you cannot be truly merciful and compassionate towards the other unless you first truly understand what the other needs. And you cannot do that without putting in the energy and investment and effort to get to know the needy other, and not from a point of arrogance and haughtiness, but from a point of empathy and internalization. And look at the remarkable theological implications that if you are unable, if you are unwilling to extend mercy and compassion to the creatures of God, then God in turn will not extend mercy and compassion to you in the hereafter. And look at how extensive the list in which the Prophet ﷺ told us that mercy and compassion can be extended. We all know that imatatul adha on al-tariq, removing a simple harm from the road, seeing a tire that might cause someone harm in the road, and you go and you remove that tire, that's rahmah, and Allah rewards you for that. You all have heard that before, I'm sure. A pothole that you warn others about, that's rahmah, and you are rewarded for that. Even as the Prophet ﷺ taught us, smiling in the face of other human beings, smiling is a hasana and a rahmah. You get rewarded for that. Imagine if you internalize this, there wouldn't be a reason that you'd go around smiling in every face you meet. Because you want Allah's compassion and mercy. You want to be among those قَدْ فَلِحُوا, those who have succeeded in elevating their soul, not those who have caused their soul to be submerged and neglected and ultimately wither away. May Allah grant us the wisdom and the power to always remember mercy, rahmah, and extend it to others. إني داع فادع معي. اللهم اصلح لنا ديننا الذي هو عصمة أمرنا، واصلح لنا دنيانا التي فيها معاشنا، واصلح لنا آخرتنا التي فيها معادنا، واجعل الحياة زيادة لنا في كل خير، واجعل الموت راحة لنا من كل شر. Allah, bestow upon us your grace so that our faith is strong and solve it. Say Ameen loudly and with passion, affirmative action. And Allah, bestow upon us your grace so that life on earth does not become a way of losing you and losing the way to you. And Allah, forgive us and have mercy upon us in the hereafter. And Allah, make life on earth full of your mercy and compassion towards us and others. And Allah, make death when it comes merciful and compassionate upon us and our beloved ones. وأقم الصلاة. إن الله يغفر لنا الإحسان والبر وما لا فحشاء وما لا